Hello and welcome to the Wine Educate podcast, where we explore WSET education, study tips, and practical advice for wine enthusiasts and professionals. I am Joanne Close, and this is episode 59. All right, I have wanted to talk about wine closures for a while, and so that is what we're doing today. And upon putting my outline together and doing some research, oh boy. So this is one of these topics that could be a real deep dive. I want to learn more. I want to keep digging. Instead, I'm going to do an overview. I'm going to do the cliff notes of wine closures, if you will, to give you an understanding of what is out there, of why different winemakers may choose different closures, and the pros and cons. So let's talk about some common closure types. We have natural cork. It's the one most people know and associate with wine. Technical cork, this is come around recently, and this is agglomerated, meaning they put the bits of cork together in order to clean them better. Synthetic, those are the little plastic, I call them plastic bullets. Screw cap, I think we're pretty familiar with screw caps as well. Vino-Lok, those are those gorgeous little glass stoppers. And then crown caps. And the more pét-nats we see in the world, well, the more crown caps we also see. So first we'll start with the biggie, and that is natural cork. Natural cork is made from the bark of the cork tree, mostly found in Portugal and Spain. This is the traditional way of sealing the bottle, and it is still the most common closure globally used for a bottle of wine. It has a lovely sense of tradition, and there's a certain romantic notion that is tied around the use of corks, and some people will refuse to drink any other wine under any other closure. They're just got to have the cork. It's part of the experience. And I do, to a certain extent, understand that. But there are problems with natural cork. The wine cork can be faulty. If the wine is not stored properly, it needs to be stored on its side. If it's stored upright, that cork is in danger of drying out because it's not in contact with the wine itself. If the cork dries out, it's going to shrivel up, and then it's going to let in a lot of oxygen, more than you really want, and the wine is going to spoil and turn to vinegar eventually. Not good. There's also another issue, and that is TCA. So I will go into a little detail with TCA because I do think it's really important because it's still affecting, according to various studies I was looking at, about 2 to 3% of all wines under cork. And I challenge you to name any other industry where there would be a accepted failure rate of 2 to 3%, and everyone's like, it's okay, it just happens. Wow. And I have to tell you, that's actually a big improvement from when I was slinging a bag around New York 20 years ago. I'd say from my own experience, the TCA rate on wines back then was like 8 to 10%. I would definitely check all my bottles before I left the house because there's nothing worse than carrying around a really heavy wine bag and having one of those bottles in that wine bag being corked. So what does it mean for wine to be corked? It is affected by TCA. Now, TCA, the full name is 2,4,6-trichloroanisole, and it is a chemical compound, and it can cause these musty, moldy aromas. It is not harmful for you. You will be just fine if you drink something that has TCA in it, but it's not going to taste very good. And the crazy thing about TCA is that we all have different thresholds. Some people are really sensitive to it and other people not so much. You can have just a little bit in the wine, a little bit enough to kill the fruit. So you may say, oh, I really don't enjoy this wine. But it could be the TCA that is making the wine not show the way it's supposed to. Or it could be a lot of TCA, and that's enough to really be stonky and smell like a wet, dirty cardboard or dirty dish rag. Very unpleasant. Anyway, so these are the risks and the benefits of using cork. It seems that even though the threat of TCA is still very real, cork is not going anywhere in the immediate future. And then we have screw cap. So screw cap first came around in the 50s and gained traction in New Zealand and Australia, which is why you know that New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc is under its screw cap. I think the pros are pretty big and way outweigh any of the cons. The pros is it's a consistent seal. There is no risk of cork taint, and it is great for wines meant to be consumed relatively young. And since the majority of wines are meant to be consumed within 6 to 12 months upon release, well, just put a screw cap on it. No problem. If you have a screw cap, you don't have to worry about cork taint being an issue at all. Looking at the cons, I have it listed here in my outline. It's a perception thing. I don't really feel like it's much of a con. People still perceive a wine under screw cap as being cheap. It's an image thing, the romance of the cork. A young wine that needs to be consumed under 12 months, I will take it under screw cap anytime. They're getting very sophisticated with screw caps as well, with having different liner inserts so that if you wanted to have a little bit of oxygen, you could still achieve that. Very interesting topic. Now, for storage for screw caps, because you have a consistent seal, you don't have to store bottles of wine sealed with a screw cap on their side, right? You could store them upright, and that would be just fine. All right, synthetic closures. Oh boy, synthetic closures made of plastic or polymer. I think these used to be a lot more popular than they are currently. I couldn't find any hard statistics on that. It's just my observation from going to grocery stores and being in the business and seeing. I used to think maybe 10, 15 years ago, there was quite a lot of them. I don't know if you remember those like brightly colored corks, like neon pink and green and whatnot. And I would go to open them and they wouldn't budge. Corkscrews are meant for real corks, not so much synthetic corks. And the synthetic corks, you'd use that lever and you'd push and you wouldn't budge. And all of a sudden the thing would just release and come flying out. And I can't tell you how many times I have knocked myself in the chin trying to open up these bottles with these synthetic corks. Okay, so that pet peeve aside, there is a big con to synthetic corks, and that is that they are definitely not made for any sort of long-term aging, as they let in a lot of oxygen. These bottles are really meant to be consumed within 6 to 9 months. If you see a bottle of wine sitting on a retail shelf and it's got one of these synthetic corks and it's a couple years past its vintage, buyer beware. It is going to have been affected by quite a bit of oxygen. So as you can tell, I'm a little biased against the synthetic corks. I do appreciate that they are a less expensive option, and I definitely understand the need to save money and to control costs on the vineyard. But if you could, I think just put a screw cap on that sucker. You know that no oxygen's getting in, and it may be the better option. But yet, I still have not compared the price difference in doing so. Other closures. Gosh, there's so many more interesting ones. Technical corks. So this goes hand in hand with the TCA issue with real corks. There's a brand called Diam, and they have a whole patented process for now making corks that they claim are 100% TCA-free, which is remarkable. Vino-Lok glass stoppers. I do know that these are pretty pricey, but I kind of squeal with delight when I see one. They are really beautiful. And when you re-put the glass cork back on, it makes this satisfying pop. You don't see many of them. I see them on like German wines, Austrian wines. They're really stylish and reliable because they are glass, but they can be expensive. Crown caps. All right, well, crown caps are used in the production of sparkling wines, right? We usually don't see them because the traditional method, you put a cork in it eventually. But for pét-nats, pétillant nature, we will see the wines with crown caps on. So that's becoming more common as well to see that in the bottle shop, the sparkling bottle with the crown cap on there. So those are quite a few different closure choices. And as I mentioned, it's a pretty interesting topic. We didn't even talk about different packaging options for wine itself. I think that's another topic for another day. So I hope with this information about closures, it will help you with making some purchasing decisions, some storage decisions. I find it really funny when I do my tastings with my level 3 students, and of course we do it blind, and they try not to peek, but they kind of do. And if they can see that one of the wines I'm pouring is a screw cap, maybe they see that the top of the bottle peeking out from the bag, their brains rush to make assumptions, and I just think it's really funny. I hope you found that to be useful. I would like to mention that our summer tasting series is going to be coming to an end. I'm going to end it on a nice round number at 10. So if you are interested in getting those sheets on each tasting description, they're on the newsletter. You can sign up on wineeducate.com, the green button on the top. All right, friend, thank you so much, and I will talk to you next time.